this lesson, using Cinema 4D, we're going to create lighting effects and an animated video, and the final result will look something like this. Now start by opening the project file, go to the File menu and click on Open, and select LF 3D Logo 04 from the course material provided. Now set the project settings. Go to the Edit menu and select Project Settings. In the Attributes Manager, enter 25 frames per second. First frame is 1 and last frame is 175. Now let's add a camera. Go to the Objects menu, scroll down to Scene and select Camera. Now select the camera view. In the viewport, go to the Cameras menu, go to Scene Cameras and select Camera. And we're now seeing what the camera sees. Now to position that camera, go to the Coordinates Manager, enter 0 in the Position X field, 200 meters in the Y field, and minus 1000 meters in the Z field, and set the rotation fields to 0. Now as we move the camera through the scene, we want it to stay pointing at the center of the logo. To do that, we'll need to create a target expression. But before we do that, we need to create a target. So in the Objects Manager, select the head object, and you'll see that the axis is sitting at 0. To adjust that, go to the Use Object Axis tool, and in the Coordinates Manager, enter 100 meters in the Position Y field. And you can see that it's raised the axis without moving the object. Go back to the Use Model tool and select Camera in the Objects Manager. Go to the Tags menu, Cinema 4D Tags, and scroll down to Target. Now with the target icon highlighted, drag the head objects into the Attributes Manager and drop it on the Target Object field. And you can see now that the camera is targeting the head axis. Now we're going to animate the camera. Position the play marker at frame 140 in the timeline, and with the camera object selected in the Objects Manager, and the Coordinates tab selected in the Attributes Manager, add keyframes by holding down the Control key and clicking the circle icons. Now move the play marker to frame 1, and in the Attributes Manager in the Coordinates tab, enter minus 200, 80, and 200. Now add keyframes to those points, Control click. Now as we shuttle through the timeline, you can see the result. The next thing to do is add lighting effects. We're going to create lens flare, but to start with we need a light. So go to the Objects menu, scroll down to Scene and select Light. Place the play marker at frame 100 in the timeline, and in the Attributes Manager with the Coordinates tab selected, set the light at minus 300 meters, 100 meters, and minus 50 meters. Add a Position X keyframe, move the play marker to frame 150. In the X position, enter 300 meters and add a keyframe. Now with the light object selected, in the Attributes Manager, click on the Lens tab. In the Glow field, select Zoom, and in the Reflexes field, select High 8. But I don't really like the look of that streak, so we're going to remove that. Click on Edit, and in the Lens Editor dialog box you can go through the various elements of the lens flare. We want to remove element 0, which is the streak, so click Remove and OK. Now with the light object selected, place the play marker at frame 115, and in the General tab of the Attributes Manager, add a keyframe to Intensity. Move ahead to frame 135 and add another keyframe. Now when we move back to frame 100, we want the intensity to be 0%. Then click on a keyframe. Moving ahead to frame 150, do the same thing. 0% and a keyframe. And as we shuttle through the timeline, we can see how that light moves through the scene. So the next step is to export that as a video. Go to the Render menu and scroll down to Render Settings, select Output. We'll be using 1024 by 576 with a frame rate of 25 frames per second, and the frame range will be all frames. In Fields, select Even First for PAL. That'll give it a nice smooth motion. Select Save, give it a name and a directory path. Select Format. Scroll down to QuickTime Movie, click on Options and the Compression Settings dialog box appears. We're using animation compression at 25 frames per second, and high should be good enough. Click on the Render in Picture Viewer icon, and if you have any problems in rendering, reduce the frame range and render in sections. That always seems to work. Okay, then save your project, and here's the final result.